Nice day to do a video here. I'm standing outside here in my neighborhood. It's not this camera, whatever. And today is a good day here, and I guess it's a little cloudy, overcast, but I like those type of days where I can just come out here and sit and just chat a little bit. But I actually wanted to do a video, follow-up video, a video that I actually should have done a while ago, where I actually had someone to reach out to me to actually that had, I guess, some issues with a video that I did a while back, and I guess there's no good time to actually sit down and actually talk about it now, since I do have some time off of work. But the video that I'm actually referring to is the one where I was talking about the psychology of our young black men. And I pretty much knew from the moment when I actually did that video some time back, a while back, that I would actually, you know, say or actually experience, I wouldn't kind of say any type of backlash, but I know that it would actually kind of, in a sense, some people wouldn't actually understand what I was actually trying to say. And it's not anything to actually be, you know, insulted by or anything like that, but it's just the fact that some people just don't think along the same lines as others do. And you know, and you would hope that when you do a video that folks will actually see your point of view. But like I say, you know, it's not anything that I'm actually angry about, but it's just the fact that, you know, again, you can't expect for people to always agree with what you have to say. You know, my main thing is that whenever you do videos, you know, you do videos again because you want to, and because you want to express your point of view, not necessarily please everybody who, you know, may want to watch your video. And pretty much I understand that, and the issue is that I'm okay with that. But like I say, you know, it is what it is. I'm not going to actually, you know, get too bent over the shape about it. But again, I'm always actually willing to explain myself, you know, or offer some sort of clarification. Let me actually adjust my camera here for some reason, because it's actually shooting in widescreen or some other mode that I'm not familiar with here. Just bear with me here. Let me adjust my camera. I was actually, again, doing a video, and for the most part, one of the people who actually was looking at my video actually stated that, you know, I was going in a little too hard, you know, on my, you know, assessment of young black men, and basically, you know, some of the stuff they kind of agree with, and some of it that they were not in agreement with, because again, you know, they felt that I was just being a bit biased and all this other type of stuff, to make a long story short. And basically, like I say, you know, with each video that I actually do, again, I try to, well, with vlogs, I would say, not necessarily anything with the Bible that I, you know, do my teaching videos on. I try to remain as clear-minded, logical, you know, and give information accurately, not necessarily how I see things, but just from what I see. One of the main things that folks don't understand is that you cannot deny what you see. You can't. And the issue is that, you know, I'm done trying to apologize for what I see, because again, what I see is, you can see it for yourself. I think one of the main things that they actually had fault with was the issue where I was talking about, you know, the characteristics of the men, of the young fellas of today, with their thuggish image, and, you know, their, you know, and the fact that, you know, you have a lot of them that is on the DL and stuff like that. I actually wanted to, I guess, let me back up a minute and actually just kind of take a step back and breathe just a moment here, because my thing is that, again, you can't deny what you see. And the main focus, my whole purpose of actually making that video is to just kind of bring to light what today's generation of young men are all about. I'm not saying that all of them are like that, and I would think that anybody with any really logically thinking common sense would know that I don't know every young black man, so it would be ignorant for me to actually categorize that and use the broad brush theory to say that all men are like that, because again, I don't know all. I can only go by the ones that I see in my community and the ones that I interact with on a day-to-day basis. But just generally speaking, from the ones that I've experienced, they are actually, you know, all about the thug image. And again, a lot of them are on the DL. And the issue is that, you know, it's not for me to sit here and castigate and judge them, because again, the Bible does a good job of that on its own. So I'm not actually, you know, trying to sit here and actually trying to castigate or trying to make someone feel, I guess, bad about their choices, because again, your choices are yours. You have to live with it, not me. But again, my main thing is that I just wanted to bring to light pretty much what I see. And the issue is that, again, you know, you have a lot of them right now that are out there that are trying to prove something. And the issue is what they're trying to prove is beyond me. And like I say, I'm not trying to sit here and follow up with them to try to figure out what are they trying to prove. A lot of them actually are growing up in single parent households where the mother is actually raising them on her own. You know, the father has checked out. You already know the issues with our black community as far as child rearing. I mean, you've heard it so many times before. So it's not like I'm not saying anything that hasn't been said before. But my main thing is that, again, you can't deny what you see. You have a lot of them that are coming out of, you know, single parent households, and, you know, God bless the mothers that are there that have to pick up the pieces where the father just checked out and said he doesn't even want to have anything to do with the child. Or in some cases you may have the woman that may actually do all she can to fight the man, you know, so he won't even have access to his child. Yes, we have those type of issues as well. But like I say, my main thing is that it doesn't, you know, cover up the fact that a lot of them are being raised by a single parent, and in most cases the parent happens to be the mother. And because of that, you know, you have these young men that are actually going out there that are actually trying to find what they could not get in their household. And again, you know, they end up going and trying to find the male influence in the streets from their peers, you know, and usually that ends up with, you know, those going out there selling drugs, and, you know, that, you know, the typical pattern that those type of things actually brings on, you know, those type of behaviors may bring. But like I say, it's not that I'm not saying anything that's any different than what someone else may have said or whatever video that may have been produced. I'm just only, again, going by what I see, you know. And like I say, you know, black men today, you know, the young black ones, you know, and the older ones for the most part, we have a lot of weight on our shoulders to be the breadwinner, to be the, you know, the overall disciplinarian, you know, to raise a strong black family. And that pretty much is going to always be the goal, I think, in the black community, you know, to kind of raise our own, you know, to teach our own to go out and do for ourselves, you know, and not depend on what we would call the white man to actually help us in any way, shape, or form. Although in most cases I can kind of understand where that's coming from, but let's be real about it. You know, everybody needs help from somebody to get anywhere, you know, whether it be from a fellow black person or someone who happens to not be black. But my thing is that the end result is that you actually end up in most cases with these men who only look at life through the lens of a female. And I don't understand how can anyone actually argue against that. I'm really trying to fathom what is it about that particular action or concept that you're not actually understanding. You know, what is there to argue about regarding that? Because again, you see exactly what I see. The only thing about it is that I just made a video to talk about it, you know, to bring light of, hey, I see this, you know, I'm sure all of you all see it as well, type of deals. But again, those are the end results of being raised in those type of environments. Thank God I still have, you know, my mom and dad living, you know, and they were always an influence in my life, both the male and the female perspective. And basically I was able to get a well-rounded view of everything, you know, on how things are ran from the female standpoint and the male standpoint. And I thank God, you know, that I'm actually able to see the whole thing from both perspectives, life from both perspectives, as opposed to actually just the female. And because of that, you know, again, we have a lot of these young men that are being, you know, going out in society. Really, I would feel that they are unprepared because they're only getting the one-sided view of this world, and it's, again, from the female perspective. And like I say, you know, it causes an imbalance, if you will, of the development of the mind, the spirit, the soul, which causes them to go out there to do things that I would say that most normal people wouldn't do. You know, like breaking the law, you know, those type of things. I don't want to have to expound on that. Use your mind and think about it. You can come up with a lot of different scenarios, but my main thing is, like I say, is that we can't always blame them for their behaviors when you have to look at their upbringing. I'm not saying that they shouldn't take responsibility for their actions, because again, you're a grown thinking adult, you know right from wrong. But the fact about it is that it's the fact that you're understanding why they are the way that they are. And that was really also the main reason why I did that video, so we can actually understand why they behave the way they do. And like I say, you know, sometimes, you know, you may go up and even ask someone, why did you do that? Why do you do this? Why do you do that? they may give you a whole array of explanations and such like that. You know, I did this because of that and this, that, and the other. But when you actually research and actually ask those deep questions and actually go back to, you know, their upbringing and stuff, you usually find out that, hey, you know, the father wasn't there. They felt unloved. They felt that, you know, they did that, you know, what they needed, they didn't get at home. So they found it out there in the streets somewhere else. It's sad because, again, these same people, these are actually raising the next generation of children. And and the thing about it is that you cannot raise someone to actually have something or to be something that you don't know nothing about. That's why you have a lot of these people also that are raising children that happen to turn out to live the alternative lifestyle, and you know what that means and such like that. And you also, again, have a lot of them that are on both sides, if you know what I mean. They're bisexual. They don't know if they want a man or a woman. Trust me, I've been around them, and I actually, you know a couple. You know, like I say, and the issue is that it's not my job to judge them. All the Bible calls me to do is to give them the word of God and to love them through it. Just like with my faults, folks have to love me through mine. I'm not saying that I'm perfect at all. As a matter of fact, I'm far from it. But the issue is that, again, you know, I see patterns, and basically when I see patterns, and I'm not a dummy, I can actually, you know, speak on those, because, again, you know, I feel that, you know, it's my right, and I have a right to speak on what I see. Just like anybody else who may want to, who sees something and observes something, who may want to let the world know, the YouTube community know what they've observed. But like I say, you know, when you know better, you're expected to do better, plain and simple. And my whole thing about it, again, is I'm not saying that my video is the overall right video that folks are supposed to follow, because I'm all of this, that, and the other, and I've lived my life, you know, I'm a little mature and I know things. But my thing about it, again, is that, like I say, the whole purpose of doing videos is for us to learn from one another, you know, to actually teach one another, you know. And the thing about it is that I may teach something or come across something that someone else may be looking for, and vice versa. I may see a video that someone else may be talking about something that I may be trying to find an answer to. And the issue is that it's just not to sit there and try to make yourself a YouTube star and stuff like that, because, again, I don't believe in that. The issue is that that's the reason why also you have a lot of beefs and stuff with men, you know, having issues with other men, because, again, they want the fame that comes along with being well known and all this other type of stuff. It's like they're attention deprived, and they want that attention. Again, another trait for being raised by just a female. You have some males that are like that too, fathers who are like that too, but the majority of people that actually have that type of trait or behavior are females. Hands down. You can't deny what you see. And, you know, you just can't. But it's just, I'm in awe that anybody would actually find an issue with that. And like I say, I don't mind interacting with people and stuff like that, you know, especially when we do it in such an intelligent way, you know, not calling each other names and such, you know. So that's why I felt that I wanted to do a video, you know, to reach out to that person who found an issue with the video, because, again, it's not, I don't do videos just to cause controversy. I'm not that way. I think I consider myself a peaceful person who, you know, like to engage in adult type style of conversation, not this bit, you know, back and forth cursing and hitting below the belt with stuff like that. And then if you can't get them one way, you attack their sexuality and stuff like that. I mean, like I say, I don't have anything to hide. I'm an open book. You know, like I say, you know, I'm a natural function. You have a natural, healthy, normal sexuality. So you can look at that in any way that you want. Like I say, you know, but the issue is that today's young men, like I say, they're changing. And the fact about it is that what they're changing into is anything but normal, in my opinion. And the issue is a lot of folks want to sit there and blame and say, oh, you know, it's the black woman, you know, she's doing this, that, and the other, and, you know, she is the reason why the black race is actually falling down and stuff like this. And to a point, I agree. I mean, because, you know, there's a saying that, you know, the woman is actually held in high regards, and she is, you know, the pinpoint as to the reason why our community may rise and why our community may fall, because all life comes through her. She is the first person, if you will, that we see when we come into this world. So basically, she is actually the author, if you will, you know, or you know, the basis of the reason why things are the way that they are. I've actually, on occasion, actually sat there and actually watched, you know, some parents, you know, mothers, and how they interact with their son. And like I say, you know, when I sat there and actually watched it, I actually had to laugh because it's like, back in the olden days, well, I wouldn't say olden days, but in the earlier eras, I would say probably back in the 70s or whatever, because again, I can't speak of a time frame when I wasn't here, but I would say maybe in the, you know, in the 70s or whatever the case may be, when parents were actually, you know, having children and, you know, they were raising children. I never actually really saw a mother interact with their son the way that most of them do in this day and time. And what I mean by that is that they actually treat them as if they are not their child. Now, like I say, I don't know what that could, I don't know what that could bring, how that is. And I guess you can, and you can kind of dissect it two ways. You actually have a lot of women that actually treat their son as if it's their man, meaning that, you know, they even refer to their son as their man. This is, oh, you know, leave him alone, that's my little man, or stuff like, you know, they actually treat them as if they're on their level. I'm 41 years old, and my mom doesn't. She doesn't necessarily, and she never refers to me as her man. She has a husband. That's my dad. So I don't understand what type of mentality today's young folks are actually using when they're actually making videos, or actually when they're actually interacting with their child, with their son, or whatever, however old they are. You still have to maintain that stature, that even though you're grown, and yes, you are living in the world, thank God you're alive, you got to understand one thing: I'm still the parent. Now, it's okay, you know, to let the guards down and, you know, and just actually treat the child as an adult, because they are an adult. But when it still comes down to business, I'm still the parent. So even though you may not like what I have to say, you still have to, you know, you still have to at least take into consideration what I'm saying, because I am the parent. You don't have to agree, but you will respect me and listen and hear me out. These days, you have a lot of them that are actually, the parent is actually raising them to actually be equal, which there will never be any equality in that, because again, you know, they're older and supposed to be a lot wiser than the child. But in this case, you know, these days you have a lot of them that are just okay with partying with their children, sitting up there going to, you know, taking provocative pictures. And this is the one that goes out to the mothers who have daughters who they want to actually, it's like they want to revisit their youth, and they want to party and do all these other type of things and take these provocative pictures with their daughters, go to parties, even compete with trying to get men. And they're doing this with their daughters. So I'm like, I don't understand, you know, the mentality of that. It's like, I don't know, they must be hitting a midlife crisis as well. But the issue is, bringing it back to the forefront, the issue is with the men, you know, we have the women that are actually treating them actually almost to the point where they actually give them full freedom to express themselves, meaning that if they want to actually go out there and wear skinny jeans and, you know, do all these other type of things that females do, if you know what I mean, they're okay with it, because they look at that as, you know, letting them express themselves, or it's something that they will grow out of. And my thing about it is that everything actually has spirits. And like I say, I'm not here to preach or whatever the case may be, but if some element of the Bible comes out of the video, then it is what it is. But my thing is that, you know, the Bible tells us to train up a child in the way that they should go, so when they get old, they won't depart from it. So that means basically, even though, you know, we're living in a world where values are changing, morality is changing, all of these type of things are changing, there is still one thing that should actually remain the same. And that is how God actually requires us to actually rear the children. Okay, you groom the child. If he's a young boy, you groom him to actually prepare him for manhood, to possibly raise a family, a strong family one day. The same thing with the young woman. You train her to actually be able to support the man. You are training her to be a wife. That means that, you know, she's not saying that she has to always be around mom, but, you know, because all children need both the influences of the mother and the father, but it's just the fact about you do things in the right order and you handle it the right way. And my thing is that when you do stuff like that, you know, there won't be any problems. There won't be any issues. And my thing about it again is that there's a lot of issues because, again, folks are straying away from what the Word of God actually says as far as rearing. And when you start off on a foul ground and you instill in them today's values as far as what the world considers right, you should open yourself up and actually see that this is the result. You have men that are actually, again, sleeping with other men. You have men that are sleeping with both women and men. You have them coming out, as they say, falling. I don't call them coming out of a closet, because again, who are you hiding from? The only person who you are actually deceiving is yourself. That's my, you know, stance on that. But you are not fooling anyone. So my thing is that I don't know, and I just keep going back to the same notion. How could anybody be offended from that video? Because again, like I say, you know, when my thing is this, when you are actually already offended with the truth or whatever, or what my version of the truth may be, it doesn't have to be yours, you're going to automatically be offended, because again, I've touched a nerve somewhere, and that's fine, like I say, you know. But the issue is that the nerves that I touch, I hope it inspires people to think, not necessarily to get them on the same bandwagon as I am, you know, as far as thinking how I think, but at least let them know that, okay, you know what, even though I might not agree with him, I'm going to sit there and listen to what he has to say and try to understand his point of view. Not necessarily saying that I have to agree with him, but at least take the time out to understand what he's saying, you know. But I don't know, we're living in a world now where there are no values, and the issue is that, again, you have these no good women, it is what it is, who happen to have the equipment to bring children in the world, who are sleeping with these no good men who they already know who are losers, who are first of all already irresponsible with their bodies. Otherwise they wouldn't bring a child in this world that they know they can't support, you know. And then next thing you know, they leave this burden on the women, and then the woman is actually all, I guess, been out of shape, because again, she has a child now, and the dude who she already saw was no good, who was a product of a single parent household himself, don't want to have anything to do with the child, no responsibility whatsoever, because again, the mother, who probably was young and wild herself, had the child, and she taught them that, you know, hey, you can do whatever you want to do, and that you can, you know, go out and do things and not have to take responsibility of your own actions. It's like, it's a cycle, and it's a cycle that is all too preeminent, or all too occurring in our community. And it's a sad thing, because again, you know, we do expect a lot out of our black men. And like I say, I spend a lot of time around young black men, because again, I work around them a lot. On occasion, I may sit down and we talk with them a lot, you know, just kind of get their point of view on different things, you know, just to see, you know, what they're going through, what they're facing, what they're thinking. You know, and some of them, you know, it breaks your heart to hear some of the things, you know, about what they have going on at their house, you know, or what they may be going on, what they're trying to overcome. But it's like I say, in all things, it's not my job to judge. Now, with that being said, there are some things that you already know that you have to say, no, that you don't do that, you know, and then you take them to the Word of God and explain to them in detail as to the reason why. But it's just generally speaking, I can't sit up there and actually point fingers at someone and don't think that I don't have any skeletons in my closet, because everybody has issues and things that we have to go to God for on a day-to-day basis. And the thing about it, we may have things that we're dealing with that we may not want other folks to know about, but only, you know, God and He alone, you know, to deal with us regarding those issues, you know, on an intimate level. Thank God. But it's just the fact about it is that, I don't know, people are very, they're just weird. And I hate to say weird, because it seems like I'm trying to put myself on a pedestal, which I am not. Because again, we all have things that we have to go to God for and ask Him to forgive us for on a daily basis. But again, I hope that this video actually shares some clarity, you know, or at least offer some sort of reasoning as to the reason why I actually did that video that I did, as far as the psychology of our young black men. You know, we pray for us, you know, again, because it's not just, again, centered towards the young black, but we also have a lot of people that that are going through things, you know. And the thing about it is that we all need help. We all need a shoulder to cry on sometimes. We all need someone to actually sit there and listen, you know, and have that understanding ear, you know. And you know, sometimes it just gets like that. But like I said, you know, I'm going to go ahead and cut this video short, because like I said, you know, just want to take time out to make this quick video since I had a little bit of time to spare. And it is what it is, folks. But anyway, peace out, and hopefully I'll be having some more teaching videos in the works here. So just bear with me as I make them. Peace out, folks. Have a great day. Bye-bye.